The Imperishable's legions had been marching in step for days. His skeletal warriors and great stone constructs needed not a moment of rest, and they had nearly reached their target, the temple city of Teotiqua. After Krotgar had declared his intention for war, he had either arrogantly or cowardly not rode out to meet Settra in battle, allowing Khemri to wrest the Golden Tower's power from the children of the Old Gods. The Lizardmen would pay dearly for their joint war against us. The Vulture Lord of Zandri had already slaughtered the defenders of Tlaqua and sacked the city, claiming a vast hoard of treasure before moving his tomb corsairs to surround the Deadhead monoliths. Back home in Khemri, the combined might of Sehenismet, Vizier of Qatar, and King Nekaph, Demon of the Desert, was brought to bear against the Sentinels at the Black Pyramid of Nagash. The Necromancer's followers fought with a brutal desperation, not unlike that of a rabid jackal backed into a corner, but were ultimately purged. The Heretic Pyramid was captured, and in time its malefic secrets shall be all dragged into Tra's brilliant light. New powerful allies were unearthed upon cracking the Black Pyramid's tombs in the form of fresh legions. 3 skilled warriors Settra had granted nobility and life, and a lone priest of death with an unusually strong connection with the Realm of Souls. The priest's name was Omaha Anubis. Long ago in life, he was one of the first of the mortuary cult to become aware of Nagash's growing corruption, but before he could act on this knowledge, was silenced by an assassin's dagger. The only clue to what happened being a triangular mark daubed on the wall, nearby in blood. Nagash made arrangements after his death to have him entombed within the Black Pyramid as a final humiliation to serve as a battery of power for the Necromancer's dark spells. With his new freedom, he has requested of the Great King personally that he be allowed to watch over the treacherous wizard Arkhan, and that he would see it as a great honor to administer any punishment Settra found necessary to keep the snake in line. For Settra, you see, had finally decided upon a fitting punishment for the man who had caused his kingdom so much suffering and death. Arkhan would have his soul shackled to the Great King's will, and be sent with a war host north, to annihilate every last vestige of vampirism, purging the corruption he once helped sow. Nehekhara was flourishing under his mighty reign, now to deal with these foolish interlopers. And in march the proud warriors of Zandri, ready to ambush this poor town garrison. So, we got the lads rolling. Sadly, Amenemhotep is not going to be Giga Chad striding on in, but we do still have the lads in the woods that can do that for us. So, the setup for this battle, we'll jump on into this mode. We have some axes, breaching axes in the forest, some swords up front. I did have pretty good faith that we could outpace our lizard enemies here, especially since our vulture arrows can fire as they're running on in. And these guys look absolutely incredible. All you gotta do is put a fur coat on, and that instantly makes the unit better. Pimpified. They are being backed up by the weaker carrion, who are showing off with their dive rolls, or barrel rolls. And then we have another group of just the Amenhotep's Curse, the Regiment of Renown unit, moving through the woods there to try to engage with the Saurus Spears. Not a fight that they're going to enjoy, but Saurus are deadly no matter what. We shall have to isolate and destroy. We have our beautiful tomb barks flying on in, ready to steal some souls. Let's let the battle commence. This should not be a very long one. All 3 of our heroes are already charging on in. We've got Prince Wrapup the Third. Moves on in with that halberd. He smells fear. Normally he'd like to be fighting some zombies, but lizards are they're very similar. They both have cold blood. Our Lich Priest of the Shadows, and then Amenhotep. Call him Amenhotep now. They both have names that start with A. Let the battle commence. In the woods, the battle is kicking off. It's hard to actually watch the ones in the trees just because of how the trees handle. Charging on in. Not a very loud charge, but he's going to do plenty of damage, and we got some flaming arrows making their presence felt. This is going to be one of those battles that's so fast, we're going to have to use a liberal dosage of the slow-mo. The lizardmen maces swirling on in. The skinks learning that they are definitely the expendable force here. Raised to die, unfortunately. Barks are moving on over and getting some good firing positions as Realm of Souls is opened up and Usirian beasts. These poor skinks. I love the lizardmen, but this isn't going well for them. Man, ripped fully in half, Darth Maul style. Half of the unit, or 2 units, fully gone there as the 2 heroes continue to beat the brakes off of that enemy. Lads engaging in the forest. Will we get a slow-mo charge in? Hang on now. The gifts, that man got shot in the throat for yelling. A little bit of a lackluster charge, and the Saurus do seem to be wanting to countercharge there. Get those rusty barnacle cutlasses swinging. That wasn't nearly as cool of a charge as I wanted it to be there. Started to draw some lizard blood, though. It's going to be a fight where many fall on both sides. Carrions swoop on in to jump on some poor innocent skinks. They should rip and tear some flesh for their patron god there, especially with several units dropping down at the same time. We've got our Tomb King and some carrion throwing down. A little bit of a charred baked bird. Go with the charred baked Saurus. Filled in the backs with flaming arrows, which historically were not actually all that good, unfortunately. This group of lads has already decided that discretion is the better part of valor. Breaching axes have made it in as well. Slicing into the thick hide of those Saurus, no problem. Main group of the Saurus is already fleeing. That's why I was going to say this is going to be a very fast one. Tombbark charging on in. They're actually not bad in combat. You want to kind of charge them in and retreat them quite quickly, because once they get bogged down, they're got a very large hitbox. But you can get them in on a flank. They do surprising amount of damage pretty quickly. This ram on the front does not mess around. All you got to do is do a little barrel roll. I'm sure you could leave some skulls with that thing. Riding amongst the crimson blood of our enemies. Vulture Legion and their beautiful flaming arrows. We're just trying to warm you up. He's not enjoying it one bit there. We're gonna have the carrion continue to chase the enemy off. We will kick this back in and just watch the rain of arrows. Just getting shot in the back over and over and over again is not usually something you want to have happen. But that is the last of the enemy fleeing. We shall run them down and claim this port for the Kingdom of Zandri. I mean, Kimri. Menamhetum has to be smacked a couple times to remember. Ninja running across the field. And King Amenemhetem lives by the mantra of take what you can and give nothing back. We absolutely slaughtered them. 69 kills going to this flock of Joff. Nice. We lost 10, they lost 1,160, and we packed 4 of them into jars. As per usual, our Lich Priests are skimming off the top. They'll pay for that eventually. Ooh, we could raise it for a good deal of gold. We're going to sack it for the first time. The advisors have given Settra the idea that he should be destroying, or at least claiming, most of the jungles and relegating the lizardmen to the south for their crimes, and I think I agree. So let's keep pushing. We're going to push them back. I'm going to sack the Deadhead Monolith, and then we're going to claim it. The port belongs to Amenemhetem. All of the coasts honestly should. Alright, Vulture Lord, you deserve some skills. We're going to go for probably some Denizens of the Deep, so we can summon in some Rotting Prometheans. That seems pretty good. Bring the crabs into the fight. We already have the Funerary Mask. We need to keep working to get the Claw of Wrapup. We shall get there. And as far as an overview of where we are and where we're going to be headed, Tic-Tac-Toe has an army moving on in to face us down here at the Statues of the Gods. All we can see are the basic Saurus Warrior and the Coatl, as well as, I guess, the Power Fist Croxagore. This is clearly going to be a fairly elite army. Prince Wrapup II has been sent to scout, so we've got a couple armies down here moving to assist. I think Amenemhotep can hold for now, as long as we play this very carefully. They have to go all the way around, and actually, in order to reach us, and the AI pretty much only travels on the roads if they can help it, so we will take advantage. The second member, or I guess the last member of the Warriors 3 there, Wrapup III, he is going to be rolling with the Tomb Corsairs, since he is the fieriest of the three. And then Wrapup the Elder is with Arkhan, keeping an eye on the Snake Wizard with Omaha Anubis. They were friends in life. And he's got himself a good warrior, or not a good, but a medium army of Nehekhara warriors, as well as the Usirian Legion of the Netherworld, ready to drag his soul back to Usirian if we need to. Got some Javelin Men and some Tomb Swarm, as well as both of the disciples of Asaph and Tra that we have access to. They are binding, their magic is going to be, in our canon here, is going to be binding Arkhan to Settra as well, so we have to keep them alive in order to keep Arkhan in check. Also going to be bringing some Necropolis Knights. They are under Omaha Anubis' control. So he's got, obviously, some larger units coming on in, the Necrolith Colossus, and then some more Javelins. Javelins are going to be our premier anti-large unit for that army, and then Sahindasmet has kicked out all of his cavalry, so he's going to be a bit slower now. But it's going to be an entire army of gigantic constructs, as he would like. We will upgrade those as we get access to, like, the Kimric Titan later on. We'll probably remove the Bone Giant, since it's very good, but nothing says death like a giant stone scarab. Prince Wakaf of the Desert, I was going to have him attack Nehekhara and move, but what I think we'll do, since Thorak is raiding in our lands, is bring him up to Karak Ornd, or at least threaten that that's where we're going to go. He fights better in the desert, so as long as we keep him kind of in the desert, we should have no problem. I will put him in March, because it makes them a bit more interested in coming back to cause problems. Prince Arandes. Go ahead and assault this unit. Oh, we could assassinate? No. Well, the outcome for that is very, very negative. Let's see if we can assault some units. It's a little bit higher. Oh, he's got an Anvil of Doom, too. Well done there, sir. You're saying there's a chance. We took a little bit of damage on those miners, which is going to keep them away from us for a bit. I think for you, then. Not a bad idea to make you... Well, you were one of our combat princes. I say we can make you a specialist, so at least it costs a little less to try to keep attempting these things. I think we'll do that for now. Wakaf's army is actually looking pretty nice. He's already got himself a prince, and the cursed Tomb Prince, Apophis, who is an absolute nightmare to battle. I'm going to do some upgrading on our buildings of some of the lower tier ones, and next turn, Settra will be rolling on Teotiqua. They have sent a soldier in to recruit up. We'll see how many forces they can get before Settra arrives. And we'll see if Krokgar's nearby. I'm guessing he's up here in the north, since they actually have been making ground against Khalida. Khalida's being pushed back.
Kneel before Settra. Only then may you petition me.
Gotta be careful with that one, bud. Though you were a lowly servant. Alright, you. No. Khalida cannot stand on her own. She deserves no alliance. They shall perish. Eliminate a lord belonging to any of the following enemies of the court of Labaris. We gain more diplomatic relations as if we weren't already friendly enough, and some jars. And then Nekaph gains some points. Well done, bud. All that training paying off. Fortunately, you are very well maxed out. I'll give you one more jar a turn. He ran away. Alright, that was a mistake. I know he's going to recruit up more, but what are you really planning? Ooh, he's got some miners. Alright. The last defenders of Teotiqua. I think your town is going to have to belong to me. I'm perfectly willing to allow you to have this land up here if you bow. Or maybe to the south. We'll give you the High Elves lands. We shall see. First, we purge this town of Lizard. When Krokgar declared war on us, I'm sure he didn't expect us to make it to one of his provincial capitals just so quickly. We have some quarrelers to deal with who are actually going to do some fair damage to our chariots on the way in. Chariots are quite big targets, very large hitboxes. So for our general strategy on this map, it's very, from what I've seen, the very smartest opportunity is to go from both of these sides. Not a lot of towers, and they generally don't deploy troops back here to actually take advantage of these towers that they need in the first place. So I've got our Nehekhara keeping some of them distracted, a good bit of their forces off on the other side, so they're not focused on the front gate here, where Settra and our main line will be charging in. Let's get it going. We do have range advantage, and we want to try to get these quarrelers off the walls. Once the AI realizes they're being bombarded, they do like to retreat as quickly as they can and try to get down off the walls, and they're confused as to what they would like to do at current. Hold those shields up and brace is the plan. As another volley of souls charges on in. Settra and the War Sphinx are already through. Blending up some Saurus warriors. They didn't actually have time to brace. They're going to be taking full damage from that charge. We'll get some slow-mo. All of our chariots are just trying to draw the troops around. They will always try to keep an eye on your forces and rotate troops around is such. Miner's about to be run down by the Herald. Get him to cough. All that armor doesn't help you when it's crunched into your lungs. And they're gone. We will turn on back to see another volley crashing into the poor innocent quarrelers. And the Saurus spears on the wall. Our Kepler Guard, we're going to take the wall, and even if you give a direct order for the troops to go through the front gate there, their pathing is a little bit strange, and they're going to try to go up and over the walls. So you're going to see a bit of oddness with our forces. We're just going to more or less swarm over. Get as much damage as we can. In come the boys. Heave those bones up those ladders. You've got Saurus to slay. Dual blades ready if we can get the camera to work right for us here. It's a nice spin move going. Slashes on into that one's back. They're not quite clever girls. Got a explosion coming on in from the artillery. Just keeping those quarrelers occupied. We don't want them to fire no matter what. Always being tossed up in the air. That's a bad time. And then he's still in one piece after that, but gets hit with both of the blades at once. I don't know about all that. I think that would have been a sushi'd Saurus. We're glad they wore their orange war paint. It is nearly the red. They are all going to be painted soon. Anyone who is not braced is just going to get run down cold by Settra. The whole front line explodes there. The gates are open on this side, again, just trying to keep them occupied. He can charge on in here, though, since there's not actually that many enemies in the way, so he shall. Just get these blasting charge miners distracted. Blasting chargers will actually do a good bit of damage against even our Tomb Guard, just due to the explosive damage. Some Pterodon riders foolishly sweep down into combat with Settra and his Herald. See, that's more what I was expecting from the one that got thrown up into the air. And slipped. Oh, just kidding. Our chariots are charging on in and making themselves felt. He just slipped a little bit early. He was the extra that got a bit eager and took the punch early in the movie. Speed things back on up. Allow Settra's forces to seethe on in. On the wall, our Kepler Guard are doing a very good job slicing through the Saurus. Although not very many of them are swinging. More of them are fighting than the Saurus, who are trying to figure out really what they want to do. And the bodies are just going to start piling up. Defenders of Teotiqua are suffering. They get those spin move blending on up. It's interesting to do thrust attacks with blades that have no point. Kapeshas and weapons like that were more for swinging and cutting. They were very heavy. So yeah, really not a lot of use for thrusting there. Jimmy the Saurus agrees. chariots, though, are going to be completely unimpeded. There are not a lot of spears left, so we're going to charge them in, just get as much damage on any of these foot soldiers that are unbraceable as possible. And if they're not spearmen, our soldiers are going to run them down. Settra swings and kills several more foolish skinks. Let's keep taking those opportunistic swings through the Saurus enemy. Coated in blood he is. Not getting a lot of good targets just because most of our enemy is either shattered or on the other end of the map at this point in time. They are rotating over to try to defeat us, but it's not doing so well. We've already crushed a good half of their army. They are down to 800 out of 1400, and our forces are streaming through pretty much unimpeded. All of our heroes are going to converge together on this point to claim it and shut down any of the barriers and towers they're putting in. As this one is about to jump on in, the AI is all about putting in those tier 1 towers all over the map. They've seen the Battlesea videos on it. They know the secrets. As far as the fix for settlement battles, I just like to see them make it so you're not able to build towers once the battle starts. Maybe you get a bit more defenses to start, and the defensive buildings such as walls give you more overall. But after the battle begins, there'd be no way to defend or no way to build towers. I don't mind you being able to put barricades up. Say a unit is able to build a barricade in one of the slots, like they're hastily putting it together. That I don't mind, but towers are a bit obnoxious. Whole bunch of Saurus and Skink streaming on over. They realized they were defending against one man who could easily skirt around them and grab what he wants. A volley of javelins. Probably a pretty accurate one, too. They let those things fly. Let's hope they do more bit damage to their own Saurus than to Nekaph there. It actually looks like they do. Several of them friendly firing into the Saurus that they're trying to protect. We'll bring it on back. Speed things up. Lots of white flags going up. So much for Defenders of the Old Ones. Got our heroes pulling on away. We're going to use their momentum and charge bonus here again. Settra's got a grip of the Syrian coming on in with chariots as well. And we've got a beautiful charge. The bones can't stand up to an impact like that. And we can just ride them on down this hill as well, since the Skinks have even less mass than the overall Saurus. And our enemy army shatters. They are going to choose to fight another day and run for the hills. They're all going to retreat out this gate here. We shall hunt them down at a later time, but for now, we burn the city. Take all the gold we can. Another marvelous victory for the Great King, and the ancient Kroxigor fails his task in defending. Hopefully Kroxgar comes on over, we can get a nice proper battle against some large armies of Lizard. We could sack the settlement for their transgressions against us. I think we will. Eliminate a lord. Was there a lord there? That seems like cheating, but we'll take it. We gained a Tomb Fleet Taskmaster, making us move quite a bit further. And then we are going to move in and claim Teotiqua. This is going to belong to us after just sacking it. Like I said, we may let them have the Cursed Jungle, Temple of Skulls, and Serpent Coast. Since none of these are actual Nehekharan cities, they can have their jungles. And then we will own Settra, the Granite Massive. Marak will just claim all of everything up here in Labaris. Which I believe this isn't Lamia, it's Labaris, right? Oh, it counts as the Crater of the Walking Dead. We're going to call it Lamia. Thorek has moved back to defend as one would expect he would. Works out for me quite well. I'm glad that they've claimed Nehekhara, because we can allow them to have one territory while we claim the mountains. So they've just made a very big mistake. He's got bolt throwers. I was hoping that wasn't the organ gun.
What?
I think we would have no problem in battle. Let's charge on in.
Destroy them.
Destroy them indeed. You won't be in the desert, but I think we can bring death to beyond. Ironbrow's expedition would give us a close defeat, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to surround the town. This guy isn't recruiting up. And we may get jumped. Let's see how much movement the other guy at the town has before we declare this one. We'll hand out the Scarecrow banner to Coffee, even though there are no flyers right now. I don't see any gyrocopters. So we will build up some towers and wait.
For the Creator God.
Generally, they will actually sally out to fight you when they have that much of an advantage. Oh yeah, he definitely can't get over to assist. And while this guy is more intimidating because he is technically a mage of the Dwarven variety, I'll take one Lord reinforcing we can isolate and destroy and give them a giant leadership penalty. Got a good amount sitting in our treasury right now.
Address me as your
Fortunately, both of these lords are going to have to sit and wait for one more turn. We are building up on the Knopic jars once more since it has more than doubled. Well, no, it's actually less than double. We were at 900 before. We've just got to work our way up to 1,400 jars before we get another army. And then we are good to go. We could awaken the Venom Knights of Asaf as well as the Endless Vow. I think we need more Tomb Corsairs for King and Menem. So we'll awaken these guys first. We want all of the ROR units. Anything we can craft, we're going to. Ooh, the Hawk Legion of Settra as well. Well, these guys are just Nehekhara warriors. We may send them with Arkhan to make sure he stays in control. I'd really like to see these guys in battle, so bring it. Awaken all of the warriors. Legions of old. I guess that's all we've got. We need to gather up some more jars from our enemies. As far as spending a bit of this treasury, we're going to come on into the Black Tower of Arkhan, and I think we do actually want... We want another Nehekhara Citadel. I need something that gives some extra corruption cleansing in nearby settlements, so we may not go for that yet. Does this help corruption in nearby later on? Ooh, by -2. While it's kind of unfortunate that we would have to use that, we do need to lower the corruption here. Pretty much any cost. It's sitting at +13 at the moment, so we're going to have to work pretty hard at knocking the corruption down here. We do have plenty more building options, so we may actually ignore the corrupt... Since we're not going to be able to lower it, let's not worry about lowering it. We'll go for the Worship of Tra, so we can just build the pyramid up as fast as we can. And then over here at the Black Tower, we'll upgrade the walls and the horsemen. And kind of all this little stuff here. Since you are in the middle, and actually we're going to be very bold with our settlements now that we've claimed Nehekhara, we are going to just kind of put all of the focus into making money and growth. So we've got both of the buildings I want there. Unfortunate. Let's throw in the Scorpion Nest then, since we are able. Scorpion Nest, and then the Grand Ossuary. I'm actually not that keen on. We'll probably wait then and put in a couple of these very advanced buildings. For our next technology, we're going to go for the Underworld Gate. This is going to unlock access to not only increasing the abilities for our Necrosphinx, but also over here in Numos unlocks the recruitment of the Scarabs. Once we do Underworld Gate, we get Syrian's Kepra Swarm, the Giant Kepra Swarm, and then some Kepra Riders, which are going to be really cool. We, I think, are going to put them in King Wakaff's army. He's going to have an interesting Kepra and desert-themed army, so it'll be a mixture of Syrian and Kassar. I'd really like to throw this building in, the Nehekhara and Suk. I think we will. Cost 3 growth. Doesn't matter over here in Khemri, does it? And one of the advisors mentioned that we should have the Bronze Host in their own army, and I actually will agree with that one. So we're going to slowly remove them. We're going to start with the 9th Bronze Host. He shall be removed, and we will replace them with that new ROR Endless Vow unit. They'll be mostly either Carrion. Oh, hang on, we can get the Carrion Riders again. So yeah, more Bronze Host leaving. Although we may eliminate the normal Carrion for those Carrion Riders. they just perform a bit better. We'll leave the bronze host for now. So we've got the host, and then you guys. Oh, apparently reading is very important. Alright, well, we got what we got for now. Mistakes were made. Very little is known about the princes we discovered in the Black Pyramid's shadow. But from what they told us, they are 3 generations of brilliant warriors and tacticians, who all became decorated captains of the honored Tomb Guard in life. They were not born noble. Through prowess in combat and willingness and ability to lead their units on assignments that would kill scores of lesser men, Settra chose to grant the rare honor of granting their bloodline nobility. And they were entombed as princes after each fell in combat in time. Since rising under the banner of the Sentinels, they have waged a shadow war against the vile abominations that lurk in the darkness beneath Nehekhara's ancient locus of power, against the will of their new masters. After Sehenesmet and Nekaph destroyed the Sentinels, the Warriors 3 made a binding pact with the Great King. They would once again fight by his side, if he would vow to rid Nehekhara of the corruption of the traitor that destroyed their home and legacy.
What tribute could you possibly offer, other than abject subservience?
This is a very good question. He said, "Please don't attack me." Listen, dude. I would say yes to this, however, you have to learn more. We are going to claim your mountains and you can live in the desert. Oh, and he attacked. He said if there's not peace, there's war. Fair enough, and you're attacking with brawn first? This feels like a mistake. Alright, King Nekaph, there are many Dawi riding out to meet you. They've got some artillery in droves. Grudge throwers and bolt throwers. But we have lots of very maneuverable units, and we should be able to use those to crush all opposition. And sometimes the desert is very kind. We have a single lone Dawi moving to attack us, and his entire force is reinforcing from this small little cave inlet. I don't know what you would call this. So we have our entire force moving over to prepare for the enemy to emerge. Got our beautiful Khepra guard. Or Colossus with his skyscraper-sized Kapesh. All of our lovely Tomb Guard and Necro Serpents. Necropolis Knights. Scarabs of Usirian. Volker Stalkers ready to engage as soon as they show up. So over on the other side, we have Apophis and Nekaph moving to engage the Dwarf Lord. I realized that there was no reason for Nekaph to be over here as well, so I sent him on away. And it will just be Apophis dueling with this poor Dwarf Lord, who honestly is no clue what he's in for. And wearing orange in the desert seems to be a mistake. You better run, dude. Here comes Apophis. I like that he didn't even try to fight. He turned and ran. One swing goes away for the dwarf, and one for Apophis. We'll swing on out so we can get some health bars, as you can see what's happening to this poor fella. The Slayer of Kings cares not for your petty dwarven life. Got that triangle in the way, unfortunately, but another swing, and we blocked it that time. Your melee defense coming in handy. Couple minutes till the enemy arrives, but one more swing and his heart is claimed. Doesn't seem like that's going to do much for his curse, but we shall await for these reinforcements to show up and commence the slaughter of the Dawi. And the first wave of our enemy approach to be engaged by the Khepra guard. They've got so many dwarves about to walk on in, but they're going to be coming in single file, so we do have a chance to stop them. They're all going to be drawing those crossbows at the same time. We have the entire army moving on in to put a stop to what's happening. A bit of a miscast here, accidentally explodes some of our own boys. Don't see that too often. We've got the chariots moving in just to try to do some damage. The Volker Stalkers already making their presence felt, but they do not really want to be stuck in a fight with armor-piercing infantry. They are much better against large targets. Got a Skull Storm going down, as well as a Scorpion Storm. Doom Swarm to try to rip their flesh from their bones. A lot of damage going down already, so let's go ahead and slow things down. Thorak is going to be causing all sorts of problems with his lightning bolts that get to come down for free there. Are we able to see what ability that is? It is the Clad Brakak. It's the active ability. So as long as he is engaged in melee, he gets to have this bombardment spell. Just randomly will strike around him, I believe. He may get to do it on his own. I haven't played Thorak in so long. Either way, that lightning spell you will see do plenty of damage throughout the battle. Chariots already, though, have slaughtered. It's gonna have all sorts of problems here, probably with frame rate. We managed to catch them on the corner of the map, and we took full advantage. They had a really bad day. Colossus charging on in, using his fist instead of his blade because he wants to take it easy on him. He's using easy mode. That orange paint is just not my favorite. Poor Thorak. He's not blending in anywhere. They're hiding nowhere. Not even underground. It's just not the best color scheme. Now the Dawi having acid sprayed all over them by the Kepra. Necropolis Knights chopping down plenty of them. Flaming those beards. Having a real hard time here with Thorak, though. Another lightning bolt strikes on down. Everywhere you look, Dawi are being crumped. And the ones that flee just immediately turn and run off the map. Colossus still using his fist more than the blade. Apophis in Tomb Swarm mode has charged on back over and unleashed a Kepra Swarm of his own as he moves to engage with Thorak, who is holding his own against him. Gigantic slam coming down, slaying several Necro Serpents in a single strike. But Apophis is here now, and he hates. This day shall be marked in the book indeed. Down the descend to the swarm again to rip some more flesh. Dawi are fighting hard. They're fighting against beetles and gigantic stone men. Having a bad day. Their artillery entirely unable to function as intended. And Nekaph's ability to summon in horsemen and just get a random unit of horsemen every 200 seconds is very, very good. Dwarves are being crushed across the board there. Thorak and Apophis are having quite the duel. His magic attacks and high melee defense holding in quite well for him. But in the end, Thorak breaks, and the Anvil of Doom falls. The rest of his army hasn't even arrived just yet, and that is going to be Longbeards, Quarrelers, and a good deal of Dwarf Warriors. The current expeditionary force has been slaughtered. We just need to mount up for the next one. It may just break as soon as they show up. In charge the Tomb Swarm. The Tomb Guard, as these ones just fall from the sky in death. Death abounds this day. A highly armored and highly disciplined Longbeards are going to turn and rout quickly. You can see those leadership bars already dropping. We've taken a bit of damage ourselves though, so we just charge the boys in as one final charge. They will either break or we will. I'm not thinking that that's going to be us breaking. More warriors join the fray. Slice them up, boys. Don't have to kill them all, just have to break their spirits. Love to take a look at some of the overall kills we've got. Loss is at 143 at the moment. Nekaph is actually only at 10. He's been fighting high-value targets and running around the map for the most part. Our Necroserpents, our Necropolis Knights, really aren't even doing all that well. We'll see the overall kill count. Speed things on up. I mean, and there'll be plenty more. We've got you pinned against the wall. They've got no room to maneuver. No room to set up a proper defense. None will stop us, they say. Another Sandstorm whips through the line, and that's it. With that last display of might and magic, the Dawi retreat. We are victorious. We've defeated the great Master Rune Lord. At great cost, but a marvelous victory. A glorious victory for Khemri. But no victory comes without sacrifice, and we did end up losing our Tomb Prince. Thorax Anvil of Doom hits very hard. That's all I'll say about that. Krakaroon falls to us, and we gain the access to this obsidian. I think we will go ahead and bind their souls.
I always knew.
For defeating Thorek, King Nekaph has become an old Grump Slayer. Always had something to complain about that one. We gain extra magical item drop chance, which is good for the Raider Lord. And then armor piercing weapon damage plus 3. And 3 is better than 0. We gain a Sword of Anti-Heroes, which is actually a pretty powerful weapon there. Not for King Nekaph, but for the next prince that... Honestly, it seems like King Nekaph is pushing these princes in front of the enemy. He is getting a very good job at getting them killed. Wild Hunt ceases. Orion's forces were laid low.
Your king demands.
What does our king demand? He demands Tra, the Great Father? Nah. Who are we going to devote you to? We could devote him to Kassar. We already have all of these buffs. Already. He's already pretty much Kassar's favored son, so he already has the Sandstorm. What we should go for is something that gives him even more ambush chance. So either Asaf. Only problem is we don't really have a lot of archers in there. Extra capacity for Ushabti, which... not a bad idea. We've got diplomatic relations -20 with humans, and that's a positive? You may have... Is there a way to make that a red, so that way you know it's a... This is actually a negative, unless you want to be negative with humans. Which, that could be what that is, and if so, fair enough. Ooh, hang on, that's probably the one we're going to go for. Tahoth is a good for the research rate, but poison attacks for the whole army, and then even more chance of stealing a magical item? Sounds good to me. We'll go for Sokth, and then we'll give King Nekaph some extra Doom Scorpions as well. We'll probably remove...
For Nehekhara.
I don't know. I like the Necropolis Knights quite a bit, but that's not really something that he was known for using. So we need some cavalry, like some right and proper cavalry, and then we'll probably put in some Scorpions to be the anti-infantry. All right, but for this though, we have defeated a good deal of their army. Would give us a Pyrrhic victory. Since we've already defeated them once in combat, we are going to give this one to auto-resolve. And then we are going to claim this settlement for us. We're not going to sack it because I'd like to not have to rebuild anything. We're going to see how they have set this town up for us. It belongs to Nekaph. Dwarven Dread. Another victory for the records. The dwarves have learned to fear King Nekaph. We gain another Necrotech. I don't mind that at all. And more sandstorms kicking up. We are single-handedly growing the Sahara Desert. For Nekaph, I am glad to give him some more skills. Get him some Master of the Desert Tactics, giving Nehekhara horsemen, skeleton horsemen, archers, and chariots. More leadership and melee attack. Fear Demon of the Deserts gives him even more ambush success. Casualty replenishment, and less leadership. Less leadership is my favorite. So for Prince Apophis, his military, or his martial capabilities are completely maxed out, we'll go ahead and finish off Canopic Jar Order and then work on Assassinate.
Obey me.
Okay, so the only thing we get to keep is the obsidian quarry. We probably should have sacked the settlement then. I'll keep that in mind. If it doesn't belong to us, sack it because we don't actually convert the buildings. Alright, so then what we're going to do... We can start making this the Horseman Mountains? Sure. Quicksand Swamp, we'll put in some horsemen. We're not gonna have any growth. We'll wait. We have access to what we need on the other side, so we'll do a mortuary house for now. And if I would like to, for King Nekaph, I could put in some horsemen. We'd have to use global. All we really have is the Nehekhara horsemen, which, they're alright. Our chariots are a bit stronger at the moment, though. I wouldn't mind the horse archers. There they are. Wouldn't mind the horse archers. I just don't know who I would replace them with, because Necropolis Knights are just better at the moment. We'll wait. No upgrades for Nekaph for now. Let's move down to Settra, who has claimed Teotiqua, and we need to rebuild now. We didn't have the money to rebuild in the last turn, so let's put in the walls to hold the Golden Pass. You have lost access to your Golden Tower. It gave us 2 canopic jars and 5 control, so it's pretty good. Is your plan to just sit here and wait? I see your solar cannon, but... yeah, no, you can't be here. Leave. Unfortunately, this army is not worth fighting. We will give this one to auto-resolve. The Great King needs more slaves. Won't even need to bind their souls, though. Let's go ahead and I want Endless March for the extra movement, but the jars, we're going to keep filling up the jars. Nigloxy and Urekdan was killed? Ooh, that's a... I don't make syllables like that. I'm not a lizard. So we can't actually make it back home. So let's do some channeling. We have left Teotiqua completely exposed, so maybe instead of building, we'll wait on that one just in case they come on and attack. I don't mind losing the settlement. We can just claim it back. We just don't want to actually spend any money upgrading it. I want the Lich Priest to be able to keep this whole area under vision. There we go. He was hiding. I love Ripperdactyls, but... Okay, tic-tac-toe. This is a bold strategy. Strike where I'm not. We don't need to find your harem right now, my friend. We need to find your blade. Go ahead and make sure we have plenty of troop replenishment for the mortuary cultist. Yeah, we'll go for a troop replenishment for now, and then we can grab cultists later on. So, Nehekhara, we got to get moving. We may get... You make it anywhere else. Good news is you can't make it anywhere important. So let's just reveal ourselves once more here. And we may stay in friendly territory so that way I can recruit up these fellas. Yeah, and let's move on in. Do we do any raiding? Nehekhara gets extra gold from raiding. Nah, that'd be too good. Alright, so we'll channel then, so we have plenty of extra magic, and we'll just move towards Tlaqua. See if he wants to defend or attack. We will make him make that decision. Upgrade Sudenburg in the meantime. I think we shall not. Upgrade the walls over here at Ontok. I'm changing my mind immediately. We can pretty easily fight off Tic-Tac-Toe. That's going to spend all of our gold, but upgrading this to a maximum tier settlement gives us 5% extra on our research rate, which is going to be very nice. Our dynastic research is almost done there. We may start grabbing some of these heralds. That way we can finally get through into the dynasty of 1,000,000 years later on, which is just going to be very, very potent capabilities. Increasing our military by a lot. So Hinnismet, the Empire is threatened. Let's not move all the way over there. I want to stay in the borders of the Black Pyramid so we can keep that corruption moving down. But let's move all the way to about the corner there. Arkhan the Black, we are going to start sending you up north. The war against the vampires is about to commence. Oh, perfect. I'm not even going to attempt to say that amalgamation of syllables there. Let's see if Prince Aronde still has it in him. See if you can wound Krogan's soldiers. Well done. Oh yeah, you wounded some Minotaurs. Set up those Nehekhara nail bombs in the road. And now that we've crushed Ironbrow's expedition, they wish for
I don't
peace.
have time for words. The Dowie
It is as we
need me.
expected. We'll make you pay us a good deal of gold, and we'll take that peace treaty.
For Grungni.
Yes, you can own the Burial Isles. And oh, you also would like peace. I haven't beaten you up nearly enough. You have to wait. Yes, revenge is not quite yet complete. Although, yeah, we're going to have to let them have the south. I'll allow them to have these golden idols and the Temple Avenue of Gold where they start. Everything to the north belongs to Kimri now. So sorry, Krokgar, you shouldn't have declared war on me. We're going to have to claim these territory before we allow you peace. Actually, can we get you to give me a settlement for peace? Here, buddy. You are going to provide to me the Cursed Jungle, as well as Maroc. Oh, no, both. We're going to... Oh, negative 99. Okay, then no peace. There is only war.
Barely you're heading the sands, but know that the desert is mine.
Oh, you wish peace treaty for a lot of gold. Is this when he says peace or he attacks? I bet he's right here. Bring it on, Krokgar. Ah, no, it was Tlaqua. He has decided his own settlement is not worth defending. This is going to be a tough one. I don't think we're going to manage to succeed in defending, but I'm happy to do my best to weaken this army as much as we can and see if we can bring them down. Legions, let's lock shields and brace. Alright, Spearmen, the Plain of Tuskers is threatened. It is up to you to defend, or die trying. We have a whole heap of big beasties moving on in with some Saurus warriors. Our only hope here is going to be to use our ranged advantage to try to whittle them down as much as they can before they get into combat. Saurus are going to tear through our Nehekhara warriors and normal warriors like they are made of reeds. They will rip through them very quickly, especially if we get any amount of damage on them. They get into the primal stage where they no longer rampage or have any kind of debuffs, they just do more damage. I've got my chariots trying to slow down Tic-Tac-Toe and try to get some ranged fire on him. I'd like to see how much we're doing, if possible. Issue being that Tic-Tac-Toe, if he decides to take a liking to them, has 99 speed and can easily catch up and destroy our poor, innocent chariots. Same thing with the Quaddle. It's got over 100 speed, and these guys are only rolling in at 74, so they're pretty slow in comparison. We're going to want to be careful. All of these units over here were actually invisible to me at the beginning of the battle. I was not able to see any of them at all. So we have our archers kind of set up in this, I would call this little alcove. It's very easily defendable by just 1 or 2 units, so that's what's the plan. Just kind of launch arrows over the top here into all of these Saurus. Those javelins making their presence felt. Blanket of arrows on the horizon. Looks like that was mostly health damage. No models killed in that first volley. We have many more where that came from, though. As we continue to pepper them with arrows, Tic-Tac-Toe has actually caught and is going to be routing off this group of chariots. Going to take him quite a while, though, so he's going to chase this group around. He is, for some reason, unable to land and actually catch them, even with his far superior speed. Same thing with his Quaddle. Being led on a merry chase. Every single time it catches them, it does a good bit of damage. A lightning bolt crashing down as well. Many lightning bolts crashing down. Taking a good bit of damage. Laser beam lands on it as well. Syrian tearing the souls from our enemy. And then a chain lightning dropping on down. Hopefully we notice it in time, but awesome. Soldiers get electrified. We do notice it, so we're going to pull those troops on out. Try to draw this Quaddle into this line of swordsmen, although these swordsmen will not last long. So we've got several units of Nehekhara warriors moving on over. Chameleon skinks are snatching away at this point, completely hidden. We can obviously see that they are taking it. Not a lot we can do, though. We've got to kind of keep our forces consolidated. We have a lot of archers and not a lot of swordsmen to go, or at least frontline soldiers. His arrows are just not doing a lot of damage on the Bastiladon. Sadly, his armor is holding firm for him. Waddle's dancing around. Got our Necrotech fighting against Roxagor with the power fists. And a Bastillodon as well. We'll drop it back into slow-mo once again, and we've got our chariots have been unfortunately caught by Tic-Tac-Toe. They've done a little bit of damage to him. He's completely covered in blood, but it's his own because our own lads do not bleed. They do get destroyed, though. And we are being, unfortunately, pretty heftily overrun here. Our Tomb Prince, even though he is armor-piercing and anti-large, the Bastillodon is just a huge target that does a lot of damage every hit. His massive crushing tail, smashing bone. Unfortunately, our troops got blobbed up there to take a lightning strike. The exact opposite of what you want to happen. Roxagor and Chameleon Stalker moving on in. Waddle even not doing too bad damage. I'm not sure why on its unit card it's showing as a fully, looks like a shiny Rayquaza, but here it's actually its proper blue color. Got all of our archers focusing fire, but that's a lot of monster to get through. Using that whip to good effect. You need to do more of the AoE attack there, buddy. We're at least coating the enemy in their own blood. Laser beam attack going down on our, what is considered our lord. He's casting as many spells as he can, keeping the lads healed. Our Necrotech does phase on away, though. At this point, it looks to be that the battle is pretty well lost. We're just trying to get as much damage on the enemy that we can. We'll slow it down. Tic-Tac-Toe has defeated our chariot host out in the desert here, though. They will remain in the sands. He is quite the fighter, as we have learned. Now the main goal is, like I said, just to do as much damage to their beasties. Roxagor are big units that actually take quite a bit of damage from ranged fire, so they are our current target. We can remove as many of these units for the future as we can, and that would be very key. Another blast from the solar engine smashing into our archers. Powdering bone, unfortunately. It'd be nice if the Coatl could fall in this this pit here, but no such luck. Saurus move in to reinforce that flank. We'll be engaging these spear skeletons with really good effect. Those maces will be very potent. Leadership breaking on many of our units. Oh, we did not mean to slow or speed things up. Chameleon's given the disrespectful drive-by shots. We have killed several of their units, though, as one of the units of Saurus has fallen. Most of them in the main group here did get bullied quite a bit. All of our arrows firing in. Ushabti have been summoned. I didn't realize we were still in fast motion. We are fighting as hard as we can. Roxagor have also fallen at this point. We are working on those Saurus spears who will pretty easily fend off our blows. They are doing a lot of damage with those blades, though. Just keep slicing up as many as you can. For the most part, our force is very injured. We have lots of arrows flying at them. This Coatl is nearly down. We're not going to go down without a fight. Tower is up, but it's under attack. It's probably not long for this world. Plenty of arrows flying on in, but our leadership has broken. That's the end. Our warriors fought hard, but they have been crushed by Tlaqua. And the counterattack by Tic-Tac-Toe. The defenders fought hard, but were ultimately defeated. We did manage to defeat their Saurus warrior and then the Croxagor. Could have played that one probably a little bit better, but Is what it is. They lost 444, which is about half their army, and we lost all of ours. We gained 3 canopic jars for our trouble. They're going to claim the Plain of Tuskers. All right, now that's a mistake.
You speak with Settra, King of Kings. Know that you are not worthy.
Warzag, I really wouldn't try it. No, fair enough. Someone else wishes to die. Turn falls to us. Our research is completed, and we're going to get a meta moving. I don't mind him being in March stance because well, no matter what, he's going to move on. He can't reach Bagar or Ontak, which is very good. He can hit Sudenberg, but we can stop that quite easily with Hennismet. We're going to start a ambush here, right outside of Sudenberg. And then I'm going to, instead of going into March stance, because he can't reach either of those settlements anyway, let's go into ambush with you as well and try to catch him coming back home. I'm going to assume he's going to attempt to retreat. 40% chance on either side gives them a really high chance of being spotted, so I don't have high hopes that they are going to actually complete that without being seen, so we'll see. For the settlement of Kasabar, I think we actually do want a Charnel Plaza finally, because it can go all the way up to the Nehekhara and Suk. And then for the military buildings, we got one final one there, so we could probably put in the Kimrick statue eventually, or we could get a Necrosphinx going. I actually think I want a regular War Sphinx, because Settra has all the upgrades for the normal War Sphinx. The Sphinx of Usek is probably going to be removed and placed in another army, since he just doesn't have the buffs to that individual unit. We'll upgrade the final settlement of Ontak there finally, and that should finish off our main 2 settlements, or our main 2 provinces there with the Land of the Dead. Have to drop some coin there. Arkhan's ambush did not work. Yeah, no, that's true, but you already failed him. Let's go kill a Kugathoth. It shall give us a decisive victory with low casualties. This is unfortunately not a battle that would be very interesting to see. Does Arkhan already have magic attacks? Yes. Who does not? Ah, Yusa. Magical attacks for you. We'll auto-resolve that one. Indeed. And now we're going to start claiming settlements in the north. Since Wurzag's on his way, let's get a stronghold working and start purging this Coronate corruption. It's not going to be easy, but they do only own the 1 settlement, so it's not going to be quite as bad as it was. And we have a nice sandstorm kick done up. Iron mine up here as well. Let's go for... And I do like the cash money. We'll go for an obelisk, because we're not so worried about the buildup of growth here just yet. For you, let's go ahead and give Vengeful. We can grab Osirian next time, since we didn't really take enough casualties to matter. We don't have any Casket of Souls in his army just yet. Or Omaha Anubis. I think, good idea, we're going to grab him. Negative to leadership seems fine. Aspect of the Dread Knight. We'll max out Spirit Leech. Man, I think replenishment, probably a good idea. Then we'll work on his magic a little bit more. And then Wrapup the Elder. We'll go ahead and give him a bit more training. He's also a cultist priest. All of the Wrapup family are. Then for our dynastic research, let's come on in here and grab... Actually don't have any Kimrian War Sphinxes, so that's not really worth grabbing for now. We could get even more Tomb Princes. Grab Alcazar of the 6th. We don't have any more armies available. Grabbing some of these heraldries is probably not a bad idea. We could give this one to Hennismet and give all his Ushabti Frenzy. Rock increases the armor and weapon strength for Tomb Guard. Sphinx adds the Sphinx Legion of Numos Nehekhara warriors to our Regiment Renown pool. And then bonus versus large for Necrosphinx and Kimrian War Sphinx units. I mean, I like Legions of Renown. Anything else here give us? Ooh, Hawk's Precision for Skeleton Archers, Archer Chariots, and Ushabti Great Bows. Then extra bonus V infantry for Tomb Scorpions. And none of these are bad at all. I think we may go for Herald of Settra first, though, because extra Death Blow for all the Nehekhara warriors, Skeleton warriors, and Spearmen. And And then Tomb Guard. That's all of your normal skeleton units. Yeah, we'll try this and give it to Settra. Drops back our canopic jars just a little bit more there, but we'll keep working. I don't think we're allowed to have another Lord just yet. We are able to recruit in both another Priest and another Tomb Prince. Bringer of Tra's Burning Light. Flaming attacks, weapon strength plus 75% and 75 charge. Well, we may have to go grab the raid boss. See, the problem is this man is a crypt genius. He gives us more research. But Bringer of Tra's Burning Light needs to be in Settra's army. And yes. We'll grab a Shim's Burning Gaze and the Exorcism ability, question mark, along with the Net of Ammontok. And then we'll try to bring Junza down into Settra's army. Like I said. Or Settra. Time to strike out. We can't quite reach the jungle. Fair enough. Let's do some raiding then. I'd like to make some cash. Hit the Cursed Jungle next turn. Hrothgar has got to be nearby. We'll upgrade the Funerary District and then we'll save that other slot for walls. Just so I can move on and hopefully the place can defend itself. Alright, we got one final lord here who hasn't moved, and that is King Nekaph. She has actually claimed the Granite Massif. We may leave her where she's at and move up to try to claim the Death Gorge from Skarbrand. Yeah, let's get that going. Have the Hawk Legion chucked on in with King Nekaph. I don't like that so much. Let's go ahead and bring him to the border and in ambush dance. See if we can catch Skarbrand tripping. And then you go ahead and see if you can assault his units. The only problem is Khorne has a lot of replenishment rate. So I would say just stay nearby. Come on back around. That way we can throw you into the army if we need to. We are down one, and I'm happy to... Or King Nekaph is happy to sacrifice a Tomb Prince for Skarbrand. Our ambush failed, but Tic-Tac-Toe has decided to march against King Amenemhotep anyway. He is not scared and is ready to fight. He does have several big, large beasties that are healed up, but this Quaddle is nearly dead, and his front line is pretty well injured, so we just gotta watch out for the Ninja Skinks, and then pin down these solar engines. The battle. It is time for the Vulture Lord to get revenge on Tic-Tac-Toe, and we will see who the true ruler of the skies is. Spoiler alert, with the Quaddle, for now it's him. The Carrion are basically flying powder bags. These guys look absolutely awesome, though. It is a shame the Quaddle units are not quite as deadly as one would hope. And actually, Oxyotl needs to be riding on one, same as Tic-Tac-Toe here. Just right on the back with his little blow dart. He deserves it, as the Doomskink himself. So as far as our battle strategy, I have our single group of archers that sunder armor, as well as our axemen, rolling with the Bronze host for that spearman and axe combo. I've got all of the dual blades hiding behind the Vulture Legion, so they're going to be charging on in together. As soon as the archers start to fire, the blades will charge past them into the enemy. We do have several big beasties to deal with, and if we can isolate and pin them down with arrows, we should have no problem destroying them, rather. One of his more deadly units is still surprisingly these Chameleon Skinks. They are very, very good skirmishers. Amenemhotep dodging ballista shots. Doing what he can to. Charged on into combat. We've got the Razor Dawn Hunting Pack. Whole bunch of beasties to deal with. I think we have what it takes, though. We've got archers on high to be hunting with. It's like you hunt wild boar from helicopter. Pretty good idea to hunt the denizens of the Lustrian jungles from Toombark. Crab charging on in against Bastiladon. Just launching in the Prometheans to try to hold up the enemy and cause a distraction while the rest of the force moves in. We've got a lot of large units, and Amenemhotep and his Tomb Prince are engaging with the Sky King and his two demon dragon lizards. Another blast of the waves coming on through. Not doing a lot of damage to the Saurus, but they don't actually have that much armor, so more than I initially expected. Priests of Wrapup. Moving on in from the sky there, they really don't want to fight with any of the big beasties, so they're going to try to find a more juicy unit and charge on in from behind. Engage these Coatls and try to move on. All of our Vulture Legion is screaming on over. They have very, very limited range. It's actually lower than most Javelin units, which I find to be a bit interesting. I don't think you could shoot a... I don't think you could throw a Javelin long further than someone could shoot a short bow. It is a short bow, but... you know. Got the crabs doing their work. I think these guys have been recolored ever so slightly. They've got much more red tinge. I like them. The Kimri, Prometheans. Carrion doing work keeping these chameleons off guard. Chameleons are pretty good once caught in melee, but these Carrion actually are doing very, very well. Destroyed that group of chameleons. As our Shard variant does the same with this group. We've got some chameleons as well as some normal skink skirmishers who are not nearly as deadly, so the boat should be able to ride them down as we're seeing there. Fountain torrent of blood. These little carrion fella are hungry. They don't get fed before battle on purpose. Breaching Axe is making it into combat. They don't have a bonus versus large, but they are armor piercing, so they're going to be doing maximum damage. Fire arrows coating the Coatl. Every single projectile we have is focused on this singular unit. Tic-Tac-Toe, actually, since we missed it, Tic-Tac-Toe is bodying our lord. He beat Amenemhotep up already, and he had to run, and then he was smacking the brakes off of poor Prince Wrapup III. He needs to retreat quickly, or we are going to lose him already. Curse of Joff has already gone down on Tic-Tac-Toe, weakening his melee attack, rampaging him, and he's got that Asunder armor from the Arrows of Thoth. We've got to get away from him and get him bogged down in some units he doesn't want to be fighting. Tic-Tac-Toe is a duelist of pretty epic proportions there. Bronze Legion's Javelins chucking on in. Doing really good damage against that Coatl. You can see his health dropping quite quickly. The other one was attempting to escape and got chased down by some charred chickens. Slaughterers of the Sky. Chameleon and normal skirmishers running from Carrion together. The cast system doesn't work when you're running for your life. Got the tomb boats being chased around by some big, happy, armored fellas. One of my favorite overall looking units for the Lizardmen. They don't perform fantastically, but I love Ankylosaurus in real life, so it is what it is. He's chasing our boat. We really don't want him to catch the boat. That's just how that's going to be. Gigantic smash-em-up spines are going to do very good work against our timber boats. Amenemhotep's going to find himself a juicier target, one that's got a little bit less fight in him. Because Tic-Tac-Toe doesn't play. He's coated in blood. He sliced himself up to get him nice and vicious for the battle. Got Dual Cutlass and Breaching Axe slicing in. With a lightning bolt ripping through our line. Tossing Vulture Legion aside. We're going to need to get these guys up out of combat, away from our enemies so they can actually start firing, and we quickly do so. As we see, they are all kind of pulling on back. Get a little bit bigger view on the map there. We're just trying to focus fire down the big units, as you can see. Just rotate enough where you can start throwing stuff at them again. That Coatl now retreats from the battle. Tic-Tac-Toe has found Amenemhotep again. We really don't need that, so the Bronze Host trying to move to reinforce their lord. Now that he's surrounded, we found our bravery again. Just as pirates do. Slicing away with the halberds. The disciples moving on in with their blades as well. I don't know what the non-Kapesh swords. They're just a straight sword, but I do believe it has a specific name. Giant scorched carrion. Nom-nomming on Saurus and skink alike. It all tastes like chicken. just maybe slightly tough. Love seeing the flying units flying overhead with the archer projectile lines. Awesome stuff. Tic-tac-toe retreats. That is probably going to see off the rest of his forces. The big beasties are a little bit dumber, so they're going to be fine with getting hit a couple more times before they decide retreat is the way. Got Tombboat doing battle with the Bastillodon, who's going to run over some lads as he escapes. He's the happiest of armored boys. Tombbarks look incredible. Yeah, the revenge looks to be ours. We've taken quite a bit of damage. We almost lost our Tomb Prince. He remains just barely. Although I don't see him. Where did our Tomb Prince go? Oh, there he is. Half thought he did not make it. Now he's hunting down Razordon in the woods, getting his hunting badge. At the moment, though, Tic-Tac-Toe's forces are broken. We're going to hunt down some dinos. It'll be quite the hunt, as you can see the javelins clattering off the beast, some of them making purchase and stabbing on in. That was quite the victory. And a duel with Tic-Tac-Toe is quite a harrowing one, but we managed to scrape together a victory, bringing down several quite large dinos. Tic-Tac-Toe he's a very aggressive duelist there. Alright, we get it. You're loud. We are going to, I think we'll bind these souls up, get that replenishment going. Turn is once again ours, and many things have taken place. We have the quest issued for the Staff of Nagash. Though eternally loyal to Nagash, Arkhan would slay a legion to wield even a fraction of his master's power. The Lich King believes in one such way to achieve this: to find the long-lost Staff of Nagash, a weapon of boundless arcane might. However, it rests in the unliving hand of Settra the Imperishable. Are we going to have to fight Settra? The false king whose newly empowered bone legions march upon Arkhan's black... Yeah, we are. Even now. Rallying to the Infernal Spire's defense, Arkhan's concern soon grows to the mounting horror as rank after rank of Skaven warriors marches into view. A veritable vermintide. Its warlord holds aloft the Staff of Nagash and laughs a repellent laugh. A subterfuge, then. This is Settra's doing. Arkhan's horror turns to dark rage. Vengeance awaits. Listen. It's one more test for you, bud. Don't complain. So reinforcements expected. That's a lot of Skaven slaves. King Nehekhara's ambush has failed, and then we got Out of the Skies, giving us even more movement range and line of sight. That's really good for a Nehekhara. We may want to beat the brakes off of him a couple more times. We gain the Herald of Settra. The Crocodile God. Yeah, let's give that to Settra right away. For our ancillaries, who can we get rid of? I think the Banner of Swiftness is the one thing that I'm not necessarily... Actually, take it back. I think the Highborn of Kimry is not all that necessary, and I'm willing to give the Charnel Valley Necrotech to someone else. For now, though, we'll just grab... Where did you go, this? Oh, here he is. Herald of Settra. All of our Tomb Guard gaining Death Blow and more leadership. The armies of Tlaqua have been hiding. Tic-Tac-Toe is much more aggressive. Let's go ahead and claim back the Plain of Tuskers with Sehenna's map. This belongs to us now. Always has.
Arise, my
rascals.
rise.
We will occupy the settlement back then, and his map becomes a headsman. Free an enemy is a fatal mistake. Better to free them of their head. A new Storm Mode Necromancy kicks up. Take it back up from tier 1. How sad. Well, in that case, we will give Nehekhara his skills. So I think we want to go for... I do use Tidecall quite a bit, so we're going to upgrade this one. And then for Hecanerus, we'll increase that income a little bit more. Once that's maxed out, we can work on his combat potential.
It is done.
For Prince Wrapup the Third, there with the Nehekhara. Surviving combat with the Pterodon Lord, we'll go ahead and give you hard to hit. And then we will turn and surround Tlaqua once more. We will surround the settlement for now. We'll most likely give this one to auto-resolve. I would like to have Arkhan's quest battle kicked off there. His army is really not that bad. We're going to be fighting a bunch of Skaven, so let's take him out of the settlement. Excuse me.
Do not lie to me.
I'll lie to you. It's fine, buddy. We're going to go get you your staff. Be happy. Swing down to our objectives. Our new mission, the Staff of Nagash, and let's go kick off Settra's challenge. Need so much more now. He's wearing some cool-looking red armor. Well, that's an absolute ton of Skaven. Alright, so we have the Skaven slaves, and then a group of vermin, storm vermin coming on in with clan rats, a doom wheel, and these other reinforcements that we are going to have to deal with when they arrive that just get more and more elite. Perfect.
So, the great Settra sends his champion to thwart my course, does he? Perhaps he thinks me some princeling, to be swatted aside by such an inferior. Better you had come yourself, Settra. The staff of Nagash will be mine, and your servant's head will be returned on a spike.
Time to pass Settra's test or die trying. Alright, Arkhan, let's see what we are coming up against. To start, we have this alarmingly crimson group of Skaven slaves. We've got 4 Skaven slaves. Actually, I think every single unit here is just your basic Skaven slave unit. Fair enough. We have lots of chaff to butcher through. Arkhan's force is ready to go. We haven't actually gotten to see Usirian's Netherworld Legion just yet. They're very glowy, nice and spooky for the season. They are going to come with all of the benefits that do come with being ethereal, with that innate physical resistance of 55%. Quite strong, but they have very low armor, meaning if they get shot with anything or shot with magic, they will more or less disintegrate. Which the Skaven definitely don't bring missiles ever. We're not sure where any of the reinforcements are coming from, but we definitely saw that there are many reinforcing armies. The first one arrives as we speak, but these are assassins, so we shall not see them till they become a little bit closer. We're basically just going to be moving in as fast as we can to try to engage with very minimum force with this first group of Skaven slaves. Arkhan can pretty well rout most of them solo. We've got another group of Skaven slaves, looks like, coming in from this flank, which we have our Necroserpents for. They will feast well. Arkhan is already engaged with some Skaven. An absolute ton of them has emerged. Each swing of the blade should kill plenty. We'll slow things down just a little bit because this is going to be quite a large battle. As Arkhan fights there, we have the Chieftain moving on in after our Tomb Prince, which I don't think he would like to. Rats, even the Chieftains are really not all that great in combat. Warlords or Chieftains, either one. Swing things back on up. The Assassins moving in as well. We've got an arrow fire. Dropping down the A10 from Nehekhara. And Warthog run. We'll get the slowdown on the Necroserpent charge. Should emulsify these poor Skaven slaves. Oh, they got smushed so hard we're having all sorts of frame drops. The blood and particles and chunks everywhere. 2 whole units of Skaven slaves being jibbed, but in one charge. And the second one arrives. It's just a slaughter. Khorne would be proud. He did enough for the second one. Oh, yes. And everyone died. Have a nice day. We're gonna move back over to the main line, which is fighting with Assassin and Gutter Runner alike. Line Eshin's elite. Bring some more throwing stars from the pouch and let those things fly. See what kind of damage they get up to. Wicked seeing them fly through the air like that. Most of them clinking pretty ineffectively off of the Bronze Legion shields. Well done, lads. That's how you brace from throwing stars. Got the assassin in the middle of our Nehekhara warriors here with sword and board. He's actually going to be doing fine damage to them. But if they can surround, they'll be doing plenty back. Over on the main force, Arkhan has used the Tomb Blade there to summon a group of 200 spear soldiers, or I guess sword and board soldiers, slicing through gutter runners. There's just so many of them. Speaking of so many of them, Arkhan is still completely surrounded by a absolute crowd of adoring fans. Same thing with his Tomb Prince there. They're a bit bogged down. They're going to need some help. Help is on the way. In the form of dual sword-wielding skeleton crazies. See the Tomb Swarm chasing down individual groups of Skaven slaves. The only issue really with the Tomb Swarm here is they randomly rampage out, and they choose their targets. And when that happens, they tend to not go after very effective ones. They like to chase off these units like this group of Skaven slaves. Or if they came close to our Eyes of the Desert, or either of our disciples rather, they would get destroyed. So now we're starting to get a bit more of elite Skaven teams moving on in. We've got a group of halberds, storm vermin, bristling with spikes. And some sword and board. This man is ready to go. The Skaven warriors emerged. Luckily, we do have the Necro Serpents where they can get back on over and assist. We'll have this one stay and slaughter this group of Skaven slaves, although honestly, we could probably just leave them be and let them run on over. Our Javelin fight with the Gutter Riders is only going so well for us. Lots of Javelins completely missing their mark because of the dodge ability the Gutter Runners have. They're trying their best, though. Launching Javelins at the enemy. A few of them are finding their mark, though. There's so many just stuck in the ground. They're doing the way of the water, blocking all of them. Another beautiful downhill charge. The disciples should be making it into combat soon, so we can see some of the ones of Asaf, especially, we haven't gotten to see just yet. There's some poison blasts. War crimes be used against the Skaven. And as you see there, that didn't do an absolute ton of damage. It took me a moment to realize that these units, let's not hit the wrong one, for their missile strength, don't have any armor piercing at all. So while they do an absolute ton of damage to chaff units, they struggle very, very, very hard against any kind of armored unit, even if they're with consistent, prolonged fire. You'll see that later on with one of the Disciples of Tlaqua. This one, we don't really get a very good fire arc, and that's directly into the back of that unit. It did almost nothing. They're burnt, and they have all of their models. We're going to use the Disciples more as smash 'em up Necro Serpents this time instead of how they would like to be used. I was being a bit more cautious than I should have been on that first group of Skaven slaves, and that just allowed us to not get to use them as much for their flamethrower capabilities. More clan rats join the fray. Many of our enemy have already lay defeated. Asaf's poison coats the ground. Any that is of the non-armored units, like the Gutter Runners, though, they're going to take full damage, and it's going to blend right through them. Those are magical attacks, which gets through that dodge. There we go, the rats being blasted with the poison. Disciples of Asaf are a pretty good unit. I'm just not the biggest fan of biohazard flamethrower style things. I do really like the Disciples of Tlaqua and their fire attacks, though. Javelins fighting their mark plenty in the armored hide of the storm vermin back here in the back. Pretty much getting headshots across the board. Their accuracy is second to none. Did not mean to speed it up maximum-wise. That was a nightmare. Got our Colossus attacking. I wanted to get some normal fights, but smushing who we can. These javelins are incredible. Get him from another volley. They'd like to be throwing it large units, but what can you do? This group of Skaven forgot their large units, and a purifying dose of flame. And this is where you can really see just the lack of damage on these poor storm vermin. They are absorbing that like absolute champions. Got our Tomb Swarm moving back over. They've scared off their oh-so-threatening Skaven slaves. We'll have the Disciples used as battering units. We'll just charge them in on repeat. It'll take me a moment to notice that there's just not much damage coming in here, even on normal. Their leadership's dipping, but nothing else. So, just keep that in mind if you're going to use the Disciples. They have no armor piercing. Very good at their intended use, though, which is just mulching unarmored units. And even lightly armored units don't really stand up very well to them. Storm vermin just barely armored enough. The Wheels of Doom moving on in as well. We've got all sorts of reinforcements. Settra has pulled out all the stops here. Necro Serpents throwing down with Rat Ogres. Not a fight the Rat Ogres want, but they actually have some decent damage capabilities since they've got armor piercing. And the Necropolisites are very large entities. Seems like most attacks are actually hitting more than one Necro Serpent, so it's causing a lot of damage. They're holding their own. Rip through this first group. This Chieftain is having the worst day. Keeping state secrets with Settra. Lich Priest needs to get him some magic. We've got a lovely charge by the lads who've run out of spears. They kept their last one to stab the nearest storm vermin named Skullpake, which should be just about all of them. A lovely smash with that blade. Hopefully he uses the blade more than his fist, but you know how they are. They Muhammad Ali the hell out of everyone. Slashing with both blades, giving him the Count Dooku treatment. Our Disciples were having some trouble, so we definitely sit over the Tomb Prince just to disrupt the storm vermin a bit. And we do have some lovely Tomb Swarm to start gnawing on their ankles. Everyone's got an Achilles. Well, I don't know if rats have an Achilles.
Each Walkstone cast back.
Ghost swords have a pile of bodies in front of them. They can fight for a long time due to that blue resistance. Got a Liber. What was it called exactly? It was a Liber. I'm gonna say it wrong. Arkhan, come back. Help me. Oh, he's not gonna help me out, is he? The Liber Mortis is his book. Gives you physical resistance and some leadership. You can throw it down on top of the ethereal units, making them even harder to kill. Which is what I did there. The Wheel of Doom grinding through our units. Another beautiful dose of Scorching Flame. You can see the Gutter Runners have a really hard time dodging that, and it just does work. That's what it's supposed to do. Bring in Tra's glory. We've got another group of artillery moving in from this side. We kind of like our Necro Serpents to not be caught up in this nonsense, so we're going to pull them on away. They're going to be very slow and take them forever to actually rotate over to help us, or help their allies. I believe one of the Tomb Swarms just died. Since they do rampage, it's hard to keep them alive if they decide to go into a bad engagement. Go back into cinematic mode. Rats running. The Underworld Legion's a bit broken up. They need to try to get their cohesion a bit more there. Just blending through these rats. So many bodies already litter the battlefield. Hamster Wheel of Murder is moving on around. Guess it's decided to throw down with Arkhan. Arkhan isn't scared of you. Already throwing down a single slice. We're gonna have the disciples chase off their lord there. Give them that hit to their leadership. Lovely slow motion battle shots here. Those rats are angry. Not gonna help them much, but they are very angry. Being launched skyward in fountains of blood. Our lovely necroserpents moving on over under a torrent of catapult fire. They should actually avoid most of the damage from the catapults because I actually don't think they have very good armor piercing, these Blade Claw. As I look at it and it says armor piercing, they've got 105, so they're going to be doing good damage as long as they hit. So as long as they stay mobile, they'll be avoiding a majority of that damage. Doom Prince is working together with the spooky soldiers. Doing work. Javelin men. Holding their own. They are just normal skeleton spearmen. For a moment I thought these were the Bronze Legion. No, Arkhan doesn't deserve the Bronze Legion. Many Skaven falling. Gotta bog down this Wheel of Doom. This is one of the more deadly units they've got left. Arkhan and the Necroserpents have surrounded, or I guess the Disciples have surrounded. They should be doing good damage per second there to him. And the Colossus has found someone he dislikes. Black Tower of Arkhan there in the background. Giving the Skaven the smashing they deserve. Maybe not the one they wanted. Most of the enemy runs. Fight leaving their bodies. Just run for the hills. As this poor artillery team tries to set up and figure out how they can best assist. The rest of the army is in shambles. Everyone who doesn't run now is going to be reanimated to rebuild our lovely pyramids. Such is the way. Turns and runs. He's got kind of a Capesh thing going on there. Land Rats throwing in against some of our Javelin men who look like they're going to crumble on out and rejoin the Realm of Souls. They fought hard. There were always going to be losses against this many rats. Settra was prepared to lose some of his own soldiers to test Arkhan. See if he deserves the staff again. Perlispri's gonna limp around and do battle with an assassin for a moment. Not really a fight he wants, but if you can get a shot or two in on someone that's that weakened, should do good work. Disciples continue to run down the man with his cleaver. And this group of storm vermin is actually fighting to the last. Gotta give him credit. They're no cowards. They will not run, flee. They're brave, mighty. For now. Not his fault. That's very true. They fought hard. I will give that to them. We've got to get the rest of these forces moving on over, though, to deal with the catapults that are blasting away at our disciples. Actually absorbing those shots pretty well. Keep limping, dude. Limp faster. Got an incredibly weakened assassin about to get nom-nom-nod by some scarabs. They decided that he is not a juicy enough target. Smash that group of storm vermin. These are just normal clan rats. Normal clan rats didn't last long enough. That would make sense. A shot of the plague firing on off and almost hitting our Necropolis Knights. Very nearly. These aren't just the normal poison wind globes. These are full-blown death globe bombardiers, so they would be quite deadly in battle. We've got a trickster shard drop down just in case they want to try to throw down any lightning on me. And we just need to corner this last group and destroy them. Ushabti break from the ground. I've been saving them for pretty much the entire battle. Their final job here was to completely distract the enemy as more skeletons drag themselves from the earth. Ready to fight for Arkhan. Who is quick to throw down with the Death Globe Bombardiers. They are a deadly unit. We need them to not get any amount of time throwing those Death Globes. I will say it seems like they'd be a bit more effective if they were not throwing them and had them on a sling. Several bombardiers having their heads sliced clean. They didn't need it anyway. Some acid slowing down the game a little bit. The artillery team wishes that a few more of the Skaven had not been slaughtered already. I would have just left. I saw the battle going that bad and be like, alright boys, we're packing up before Arkhan gets over here. Have a lightning storm going down on an ineffective unit. That's exactly who we want them to be shooting. They waited until the miscast chance was fully away before they started. Very intelligent. On the other end, all of the Skaven lie dead except for the few that were chasing around. And these last few break, allowing us to claim Nagash's staff. No cost too great to reclaim the lost staff of Nagash. We lost our Nehekhara warriors, some javelin men, and one of our tomb swarm, but that is it. And actually, did a very good job against ourselves. 5,000 Skaven. I think we'll go ahead and actually harvest the organs on this group. We didn't gain much as far as gold. And with that, we gained the Staff of Nagash, giving us 20% extra magic item drop chance, 10% more research, 15 less miscast, and then some power recharge for plus 100 and 60% every 120 seconds. We got magic for days. For their arrogance in starting this war, they shall lose their ancestral capital of Tlaqua. We're going to start the battle off pretty aggressively with some lightning storms being dropped down on us immediately to start. They do a good bit of damage to us. But we have a typical formation where we've got just, for a minimum, we're going to be very spread out as much as we can just to kind of isolate and destroy individual units. I do believe the Tomb Corsairs are actually a bit faster than normal Tomb Guard. If they're not, I'm just going to be playing like they are. Lightning Strike coming on down. Wreaking havoc. Almost a third damage with a single cast. That's no good. Don't hate to see it. Got both of our Tomb Barks. Moving on in, we're going to have them bombarding our enemy from the sky there. We just need to eliminate their casters and skink chiefs. And once we do that, we should have no problem eliminating the rest of the force. They don't have a lot of ranged units besides their towers, so if we can move in and eliminate that, should have no problem. As more Vulture Guard get squashed. The enemy defending is Wamax, the Saurus Old Blood. You've never met a man who battles purely with sass before there. You were going to fall easily. Medham and his Lich Priest moving on in to take down the gates. We've got the Bronze Legion behind them to throw their javelins at the Tekedown. Those wall towers doing good work against our soldiers there, unfortunately. And Chain Lightning dropped down in the middle. Also doing good work against our dual swords. Magic is quite deadly. As anyone could easily tell you. More tower explosions going down. Slow motion siege shots. I don't have the best engine, but it still looks pretty good. I think so, at least. So So again, the plan is we are going to use our Tomb Barks, which are actually not bad in combat, to engage with his Skink Chiefs. Get them moving on away. Same thing with our Carrion. The Quaddle's the only unit that really is not one that we can fight in a straight-up battle in the air. We're going to try to skirt around it if we can. If it engages anyone, we are going to dogpile it. And if it goes somewhere else, we'll avoid it if we can. Take the walls, lads. Ladders going up all over. Quaddle has engaged with the lads on the walls. Not the best unit for them, but that fully exposes all of the chiefs in the sky, and so the Carrion will move in to destroy. Nice shot going in, glancing off the bow. More javelins flying over the wall. They will definitely make their mark. The Arrow Legion of Fox. That's going to be dropping his armor by 30, allowing him to take even more damage. Almost through those gates there. But the Air Force has engaged with their own. The Skink Chief's realizing, oh, hang on now. We're not actually that good in a fight. Rip them from the skies. Another glancing blow off. That wasn't really a glancing one. That would have launched lads off the bow there if they were headed on with hooks. I'm going to say they're hooks. They are hooked into the back of Necro Serpents, which is a bit horrifying. More arrows making their mark. Weakening the armor on the Stegodon definitely allows the arrows to do a bit more damage than they normally would, which we love to see. While covered in his own blood, I'm happy to allow him waste his time fighting our dual cutlasses. It's not the best melee fighter, so it's going to not deal that much damage in return. Gates are open. Carrion doing work there, dropping a Spirit Leech from the Disciples of Wrapup. Chase that lad down with everyone we have. Source Old Blood's attacking the Metamata. We want to attack once and kind of pull back while we can. Don't stay in a prolonged engagement, just because of our lack of health. We will drop the Prometheans down and get them immediately engaged against the Stegodon. Throwing down those claws. Clever Girl Riders, not really sure where to lend the hand. We've got all the breaching axes taking the walls, so we're not going to be being blasted apart by solar rays anymore. Love to see it. Quaddle launching its mass through our boys. They're absorbing that hit pretty well, though. While we didn't get to see the damage, the Skink Chief got absolutely blended by all of the Carrion chasing him. Send a few of them on back to start working on these others. Each boat is chasing an individual Skink Chief, which, since both of them are missile units, they will usually stay in skirmish mode and try to run away from you. So if you just want to chase a unit around and keep them unusable, if they've got missiles, chances are they're on, AI has them on skirmish mode. Except for usually with the Bastillodons, because they're gigantic. They definitely don't want to stick it and fight. Breaching axes are going to be our best bet against this Bastillodon. They're going to take a lot of damage, and they're not bonus versus large, but they got that armor piercing. They are going to be poisoned. He's continuing to smash dudes against the rampart walls there. But the main lord has been slain, nearly at the cost of our Tomb Prince. Stegodon is shattered. That Skink Priest Chief is retreating post-haste. They're just point-blank at this guy in the back as they chase him around. Cyberbullying. It's about time. Revenge for what they did to ours. The awesome Tomb Corsairs with the white capes. These clever girls are not liking this fight one bit. Dragging those Saurus down. The boat is bullying the Skink Chief. He's just not able to get away. This guy has had very good accuracy, though. He's got the anti-air on point. Our Lord and Hero riding down more of their skirmishers. The Bronze Legion receiving a solar flare in return. With a summon of another group of undead crabs. The enemy breaks. Most of their chiefs flying off into the cliffs, retreating. See if they'll go tell Tic-Tac-Toe what happened once he recovers. But for now, Tlaqua falls to us. How unfortunate you decided to recruit up another force of heroes and big beasties. Shame if we had to skin them and put them on our wall. Gained 10 of our Canopic Jars. Will gain 30 more by claiming Tlaqua. The lizardmen of Tlaqua must lose their home town, and we're going to push them back down into the south where they can deal with chaos non-stop. Chaos isn't my job. We are too holy for that. Whole bunch of lizards killed. That's a pretty neat burial. A lot of gold. I like dragons. Another necromantic storm kicks up. Let's pass out some skill points. We have some for Arkhan as well. So for a Amenemhetem, let's give him his evasion. Vulture of the High Seas comes in at rank 10. We're closing in. 2 more ranks. We may save these next 2. Take it back. No, we won't. There shall be no saving till rank 20. For Berect. This one will allow us more recruitment. We'll definitely be grabbing the Mortuary Cult one. Actually, I think we'll grab it now. Cultist gives us more ambush chance, hero success chance, enemy hero chance decrease, and then a little bit of a decrease to our crafting cost, which every single 1% is going to add up. For King Wrapup the Third, or I guess Prince Wrapup the Third, no king yet. Give him Tomb Strike. Swing on over here to Arkhan the Black. I think we'll give him the Curse of Undeath, giving him an extra replenishment rate. Invocation of Nehek, giving him some recharge or heal. And then a passive ability, the Curse of Undeath, giving him a heal every time he casts a spell. Arkhan is going to be quite the healy wizard boy. His army's recruiting on up nicely. We've got some Dwarven Trespassers, excuse me. You all know where you live, right? It's in the north. King Nekaph here, since they are not at war with us, let's go ahead and jump back into ambush stance. We will give him, I think we give him the Hawk Legion just while we're here. Yep. We will jump the Hawk Legion into Nekaph's army. Jump into ambush stance. Hopefully we can trap Scarbrand. That'd be great. We'll upgrade the growth building there. And then Settra is going to chill out raiding. While we run around and smash up the area, I believe it is time for Settra to take back to his advisor chamber. Hope you all enjoyed part 9 of our Settra campaign. Any advice, tactics, unit names, or otherwise, take to the comments and let's start a discussion. But I'm out of time for today. I have been Space Wizard of War. Remember to leave a like for the like god and a sub for the sub throne, and I will see you all in the next one.